Welcome to Video Edition. Coming up, we're going to hear from attorney Peter Amuso, who's going to answer the question, must a school board always consider outside candidates and multiple candidates for the position of superintendent? We'll also get our weekly legislative update from John Callahan. And an important topic that's in the news and courts right now centers around freedom of speech for students and the rights of the students, as well as the authority and responsibility of school districts. PSBA's Chief Legal Officer Stuart Knade is going to join me to highlight the two Pennsylvania cases that focus on that issue. You won't want to miss this discussion, as it's such a critical one for school districts and educational entities everywhere.
Must the school board always consider outside candidates and multiple candidates for the position of superintendent? All right, so you're ready for this? This is going to be a simple answer from the solicitor for once. The answer is no. There is absolutely no requirement in the school code for a school board to have to consider multiple candidates or outside candidates. You just have to elect a qualified candidate. Now, I should say that's as of this recording. As we all know, if there's one part of the school code the state legislature likes to play with, it's the manner of election of superintendents and their contracts, and they're always adding additional requirements of the contracts and limitations and expansion of notice periods. But right now, there is no requirement to consider any number of candidates, any outside candidates, any inside candidates. You just have to elect one candidate who is qualified.
Hi, everyone. I am Christy Griffiths, Chief Operating Officer, and we are joined once again by John Callahan, Chief Advocacy Officer, for our legislative update. John, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you. It seems like there's some really big, important things going on that we need to inform the membership about.
Yes, thank you. We're always working for the members here in Harrisburg, and we've got two big issues. On the day that you're watching this, Monday, at noon, at high noon, the Senate Education Committee is meeting to discuss two bills and to vote on two bills. One Senate Bill 733 and one is Senate Bill 1. As of the time of recording this, we are still working on these issues, on these pieces of legislation and all the issues with them. So let me talk about Senate Bill 733 right now. This is a voucher proposal focusing on special ed students and those students that are advanced learners, and giving those students vouchers in order to go to other schools or the private schools, but also giving them the ability to take those vouchers and utilize them for colleges and higher education. So taking basic ed funding dollars and you're putting it towards college and community, and higher education is one issue. But there are all kinds of other issues in the bill, and we here at PSBA are working with a broader coalition. And as I'm speaking with you now, hopefully you've received an action alert on that piece of legislation, and you're able to take action. So I'm asking you right now to take action. Send those letters. Call your your senators on this issue, because if they're running it on Monday, that means that they can possibly continue to run it and continue to plow forward and get this out of the Senate potentially by Wednesday. So this is I guess I could put a red alert issue. If I was a Star Trek person, I would have the red alert thing going behind me. But right now, that is the main mission. SB 733 voucher proposal. Contact your legislators. You have all the talking points. Go forth. Senate Bill 1 is a little bit more of a larger proposal with all kinds of charter reform and other things within it. And we are going through that legislation, all 94 pages of that legislation right now to kind of boil through it and get that information out to you as well. So that information should be coming your way on what's in that piece of legislation and what we need to work on in that legislation. But right now, the highest priority is Senate Bill 733 and really pushing back on that legislation. That's what I got for you today. It sounds complicated, but actually, and well, it sounds really short because I gave you only two issues, but this is our top priority. These are the two issues that are really important in the Senate, and we need to be laser focused as school directors and public school advocates on these two bills.
Well, it sounds like your team's really busy and we're asking a lot of the membership right now. So like John said, please look out for those action alerts, and we appreciate all of your help. And thank you once again, John, for giving everybody the update.
Thank you.
Freedom of speech is foundational in our country. However, the topic continues to become more complex with the invention and utilization of new technologies and, of course, the digital transmission of information. Speech and communication as we know it today is certainly worlds away from what it was when the Constitution was formed. There are two legal cases right now that center around a student's right to speak freely, a school district's responsibility and authority on and off school grounds, and where the crossroads between these concepts lie. Here with me is Stuart Knade, our Chief Legal Officer. Stuart, let's jump right into these two cases that involve remarks and images that were shared by students on Snapchat. Thanks for being here. Stuart, jump right to it, understanding the cases that aren't identical, but there is some commonality, and we're talking about the Mahanoy Area School District case, as well as one that involves Manheim Township School District. Can you lay it out for us?
I will. But first, I'm going to jump back to 1969 when the U.S. Supreme Court decided a case called Tinker versus Des Moines Independent School District. And in that case is where the famous, that everybody's heard of, famous quote comes from, students don't leave their free speech behind at their free speech rights behind at the schoolyard gate. So that's the first quote you hear. What you don't often hear though, is that except if their free speech causes a substantial disruption to the educational program or can be reasonably forecast to cause that disruption. And the courts have struggled ever since then to figure out exactly what that means and what the boundaries of that are. So these two cases, one is in the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, that's JS versus the Manheim Township School District. The other one is BL versus Mahanoy School District that's been attracting huge national attention, was argued in the US Supreme Court on April 28th. Both of them involve what does Tinker mean for student free speech rights when the speech involves social media use by students off campus. That's where it originates. And does it make a difference that the speech that has causing the disruption in the school environment originated off campus? So very directly concerned in the BL case and the Mahanoy case in the US Supreme Court as to whether that makes a difference. And we will know by the end of June, whether that is a hard line or whether or not it's really the disruption that counts. And of course, that's what the school district, with the support of PSBA in the US Supreme Court, is arguing, that it's the disruption that counts. In the JS versus Manheim Township School District, it involved a student expulsion also for off-campus social media posts that appeared to be threatening the school environment. There also involves due process issues and the power of a school board to compel the attendance of witnesses. The argument last week certainly involved extensive discussion of PSBA's own brief in the case and arguments that we made before the court. What has come out of this national attention and statewide attention is revealed a misunderstanding that's very common among both the Supreme Court justices at the national and state level, and as well as even among school directors, which is that this somehow involves a desire on the part of school officials to police student social media use off campus, at home, outside school districts. Nothing could be further than the truth. These issues, these cases, these incidents are only of interest to school officials when they have already caused a disruption to the school environment or are in a position to cause such a disruption. That's when school officials become interested and need to be able to respond. And if the Constitution prevents them from responding, we've got a lot of problems like cyberbullying and other things that typically originate off campus.
Stuart, I'll tell you up front, I think I know how you'll respond to this, but I want to ask nonetheless, for those of us like myself that aren't lawyers, if I'm a school official, if I'm an administrator, a school principal, a superintendent, and I'm sitting there today with an issue like this that comes up, is there anything that I can put my hands on that give me absolutely clear legal parameters as to what I can and can't do? Or is that the very nature of these two cases and why they're so important, is we lack an understanding of really what can be done?
I think it's a mix of the two options. It's not that there's a complete lack of information that allows us, but the lines tend to change depending on which courts are deciding. The clarity is not there that would be most helpful to your building administrators, who are really the front line when it comes to these kinds of things. And we're looking for more clarity. We hope we'll get some of that from these cases that are now in the US Supreme Court and the state Supreme Court.
So important, not just because of, I guess, the broad constitutional impact that the decisions may have, but just in being able for going forward, school officials to say, aha, I know now based on what the courts have said that this is how to react to these sorts of situations. Because as we said up front, social media is not going away anytime soon, becoming more and more widespread every single day. So, is this a matter of the rules just haven't kept up with the exploding technology around us and the new ways to communicate?
That's a huge part of the problem. This is the first case involving student free speech rights that has come before the US Supreme Court, and for that matter, the state Supreme Court, since the advent or this huge growth in social media and its use by students, and particularly its use by some students to target the school environment with intentionally disruptive material.
The courts are going to have their hands full, it sounds like. A lot to consider and probably no easy answers. So, Stuart, appreciate the overview.
Absolutely. We could tell from the arguments that the justices themselves are wrestling with this.
Stuart Knade, our Chief Legal Officer, always deep into these kinds of cases and PSBA's involvement of it. Stuart, I'm sure we will talk again soon.
I look forward to it.
School law is a changing and layered subject, as we heard in our discussion with Stuart today. The Pennsylvania School Law Handbook, produced by PSBA, is used by colleges and universities across the state, as well as school solicitors, school board members, and administrators. It's a searchable publication that offers easy to understand explanations of the laws that impact schools. Additionally, there are in-person and live virtual events held throughout the year. So be sure, whether you're a school director, administrator, or school solicitor, to take advantage of these school law education opportunities available to you. School Law Edition is the biweekly newsletter that keeps readers apprised of the latest cases and updates. As always, thanks for watching Video Edition. We appreciate you tuning in today and connecting with us each and every week. And remember, we're here supporting you as you support your community.